If you've been told that type 2 diabetes is something you'll have to manage for the rest of your life, this might completely change how you look at it. Because what I've seen over the past 20 years is this. A lot of people aren't actually stuck. They're just following an approach that was never designed to fix the problem in the first place. They clean up their diets, they cut carbs, they take the medications, they try to do everything right. And maybe their numbers improve a little, but nothing really changes underneath. They still feel like they're managing it instead of actually moving forward. And that's not because they're doing it wrong, it's because they're missing the big picture. Because reversing type 2 diabetes isn't about one thing. It's not just about sugar. It's not just about weight. And it's definitely not about lowering your blood sugar. It's a process. And when you follow the right sequence, that's when things actually start to change. Hey, I'm Dr. Jason Schumard, and I've spent the last 20 years helping people understand what's really going on with type 2 diabetes. And one thing I've seen over and over again is that most people are given instructions, but not a real strategy. And that's exactly what keeps them stuck. Let's start with this. Reversing type 2 diabetes is not about one thing. It's not just about cutting sugar. It's not just about losing weight. And it's definitely not just about lowering your blood sugar. The reality is blood sugar or elevated sugar is a symptom of a deeper problem, a deeper metabolic issue that's happening at the cells. So the continuation of just forcing the sugars down by losing weight, changing your diet, exercising, and taking medications will, yes, address the symptom long term, but it will never fix the underlying root issue, which is a deeper metabolic broken system at the cellular level. This whole approach requires a multi-step approach because type 2 diabetes doesn't just start as a blood sugar problem. It starts as an insulin resistance. Your body stops responding properly to insulin, so it has to produce more and more just to keep your blood sugar stable. And over time, that system starts to break down. If this is making sense, hit the subscribe button. I post videos every week that break this down in a way most doctors don't. So instead of thinking in terms of a quick fix, I want you to think in terms of a process. Because when you follow the right sequence, that's when things actually start to change. And this is the 4-step process we focus on. Step 1, stabilize blood sugar. This is where you reduce large spikes and crashes so your body isn't constantly under stress. Step 2, lower insulin levels because high insulin is what drives insulin resistance in the first place. Step 3, addresses the underlying drivers, things like inflammation, gut dysfunction, toxins, and hormonal imbalances. And step 4, restore metabolic flexibility. This is where your body becomes efficient again at using and storing energy the way it's supposed to. The sequence matters to reduce the insulin response. The reality is the longer you spike insulin, the higher the sugars are, the more insulin you produce, the worse the metabolic system becomes. So to address the underlying issues at the root cause, you must address the body's needs to learn how to rebalance insulin spikes, insulin surges, so that these cells can start to finally heal again to allow for stabilization of your blood sugars. Most people skip steps 2, 3, and 4. They focus only on blood sugar, and that's why they stay stuck in a cycle. At this point, you might be thinking, okay, but how do I know which of these is affecting me? And that's exactly where most people get stuck. They're told what to do, but not what test or what to measure. So I created a simple guide that walks you through the exact labs and markers we use to identify what's actually driving your diabetes. You can download it for free using the link below this video. My goal is to simply help you understand what's actually going on inside your body. You'll see which markers really matter and why normal labs don't always tell the full story. Once you start following the right process, things begin to shift. Your blood sugar starts stabilizing more naturally, so you're not having to worry about what you ate the night before, what you're eating later on in the day, and how much insulin you need to be injecting yourself, or what's this gonna happen to me later on, what sort of complication. Your energy starts to skyrocket because you're now able to utilize the sugars to get into your cells, which is where your mitochondria are, so your your ability to produce ATP, which is your energy source, continues to thrive as well. And cravings decrease because when you actually stabilize sugar, you're sending proper signals to your brain to know when it's time to stop eating, and so you're not getting those constant cravings of sugar. So you have less reliance and constant control on your metabolism at the cellular level where everything begins in your life. Stabilizing blood sugar becomes easier to manage, not because you're forcing it down, but because your body is starting to function the way it's supposed to. And that's the difference between managing diabetes and actually starting to reverse it. If this helped you to understand your diabetes differently, download the guide below and start there. And if you want clearer, practical explanations just like this, make sure you're subscribed. I post videos like this every week.